I had Maya come in today.
Hi.
This is Maya, if you couldn't figure that out already. She wanted to learn how to cover up some bruising and some under eye circles. She has thyroid eye disease, so she just recently had a few surgeries done to help with that. And afterwards she had a little bit of bruising, so she wanted to learn how to cover that up. And yeah, so if you want to see how we did this look right over here, stick around.
I'm first going in with Benefit Cosmetics Porefessional Primer on a flat synthetic brush and applying it all over her face, and then really blending it into her skin with a damp beauty blender. I then make sure to get a thin layer of that primer under her eyes because this is where her problem area is. And again, blending that in with a damp beauty blender. I then go in with LA Girl Cosmetics HD Pro Conceal in the shade Orange. And the orange color, if you look on the color wheel, it's the opposite of blue and purple. And that way, when we apply this, it really negates the bluish purplish undertones of bruising. Do the same on the other side. I don't need as much of that orange concealer on the other side because her bruising is mainly on the right side of her face. She also has some darkish discoloration on her upper lids, so I do the same thing, just a thin layer of that orange concealer on her upper lids and blending that in with a damp beauty blender. Using the beauty blender also helps thin out the product so it's not a bunch of product caked onto the face. I then go in with MAC Cosmetics Face and Body Foundation. I use this one because her skin was pretty good, and the Face and Body is actually a very thin consistency foundation, a very light coverage, and I think that's exactly what we needed for an everyday type of look. Make sure that you're going all the way down the neck to blend everything in. And then using some MAC Cosmetics Pro Longwear Concealer, I take this fluffy brush and apply it under her eyes, right on top of where I applied the orange concealer. And again, using a damp beauty blender, really blending that into the skin. I also use this concealer to highlight her face as well, and then prime her eyelids a bit. You can see here that I'm just gently dabbing it under her eyes, especially because it's a sensitive area and she also has bruising in that area, so you don't want to be rough in the lower eyelid area. I also use the concealer to highlight the bridge of her nose and pretty much all the high points of her face. And then using Mercier's translucent loose setting powder, I go ahead and set the under eyes. This will keep the concealer in place and make sure it doesn't move around throughout the day. And then whatever excess powder there is, I go ahead and brush that off with this Real Techniques brush. And I also go ahead and set the rest of her face with the Studio Fix powder. And to enhance the cheekbones as well as bronze up the face a bit, I went ahead and used Hoola bronzer under her cheekbones as well as to define her jawline. Then using a peachy blush, I went ahead and applied it to the apples of her cheeks. And then I'm using an anti-aging eyeshadow primer by Urban Decay, and then priming her eyelids so to get ready for some eyeshadow. I'm using the Laura Mercier translucent powder again to set that primer potion that I used earlier. That way when I apply the eyeshadow, it has a smooth base to apply on. And here I'm using a very light hand and some neutral eyeshadows just to enhance the shape of her eyes. And you can see here we went from this to this. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new. Thanks for watching!